What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's having a great day. Today we finally reveal the new wheel and tire setup on my Mark 8 GTI. If you missed last week's video, we installed the APR lowering springs, and so in this one we're going to reveal the wheels and tires on the car now and also take the car for a ride and see kind of how the car feels with those APR lowering springs and the new wheels and tires. So without further ado here, guys, I can't wait to show you. So let's just get straight into it. This is the new wheel and tire setup on the Mark 8 GTI. Let's go. Well, and there you have it, guys, the new wheel and tire combination on my Mark 8 GTI. Yes, we went with APR A02 19-inch wheels on this one. Got rid of those 18s in favor of these 19s. We also wrapped them in Michelin Pilot Sport all-season 4s in a 235/35 R19. Now, I was going back and forth with a couple different wheel and tire combinations here, different setups and things like that. I contemplated going with 18s instead of 19s, but these APRs, the A02 specifically like this, I just really loved how intricate this wheel is and just how aggressive it looks on a bunch of different cars I was kind of researching. And so that's kind of what, pushed me to the A02 APRs. I just think they look fantastic. They give the car kind of this like aggressive look, because the GTI, there's a lot of, there's some, straight body angles here, but it's very curved. It's very kind of mellow looking on the outside until you lower these cars down a little bit and get some nice wheels and tires on them. So I thought going with more of an aggressive wheel would kind of do a nice balancing act with the kind of subtle looks of the rest of the car. And this, guys, this is after about a week and a half having the APR springs and these new wheels and tires on the car. This is where it's currently sitting. So before, we were able to fit like 3-finger gap with the 18s with the stock springs, and now we're down to about, whoop, my shadow's in the way there. We're about to a 2-finger gap here on the back, and the wheels are kind of poked in the wrong direction here, but we got 2 fingers in the front. Now, if I'm completely honest here, guys, I would like to see a little bit more of a drop out of these APR springs. However, I'll get more into that as we take this thing for a ride and kind of discuss the ride quality, initial impressions with this wheel setup, all that fun stuff. But I think it looks pretty darn good the way it sits. I think the APR springs have really helped this thing out, lowering it down just enough to where we don't have to worry about, little bumps and stuff in the road as much. I have a rolled curb driveway, so there's a lot of pluses to not being slammed on the ground. However, I think being just a little bit lower might just set it off. Now, real quick, guys, the APR A02 wheels are a flow formed wheel. They're offered in 18-inch and 19-inch options here. Like I said, I went with these 19s because of how aggressive they look on the car, in my opinion. And I think 19s just have that kind of aggressive nature to them. And I think they just look more aggressive than the 18s. However, I was really torn with that decision because there are downsides to 19-inch wheels. You obviously have a much thinner sidewall here. And it's not that much different. I shouldn't say it's like a huge difference from an 18 to a 19. If you went from, a 40 series to a 35 series, it's not that big of a difference, but there is a difference. So ride quality on 19s is gonna be a little bit more harsh than it would be on your 18 setup. Now you can see some of the tread on these tires as well. We decided to go with the all-season Michelin Pilot Sport 4s instead of my other option, which was the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. Now, I went back and forth on this whole thing for a long time. I decided to go with these all seasons because I want this thing to be a true daily. I don't, we get some cooler temperatures in the winter here in Georgia for a few months anyway. And, I've had summers all year long here in Georgia before, and it's usually just fine. So the decision was more so, hey, play it a little bit more safe, go with the all seasons. And honestly, I'm pretty impressed. But I'll discuss more about the driving impressions once we get in the car. Overall looks though, I think we did pretty good. All right, so with the reveal out of the way, it's time to take this thing for a drive and kind of talk a little bit more about how they feel with the APR lowering springs and give you guys kind of my initial impressions over the last couple weeks. So let's hop in the car, take it for a spin. All right guys, setting off in the GTI with the new wheels and tires and APR lowering springs. Initial impressions, like I said, we've had these springs on and we've had the wheels and tires on for about a week and a half now. So over that time, maybe 2 weeks, it actually has probably been about 2 weeks, but over that time, overall, they're very good. I'm very happy with them. The biggest thing that when I first put on the APR lowering springs with the stock 18s on there, they honestly rode literally like stock. Like I could not tell that there was really lowering springs installed aside from the added firmness, which you would expect, kind of why we do lowering springs, and that it felt overall lower on the road. So it was a little bit firmer. It definitely helps in the corners for sure. You do lose a lot of that body roll that you get from the factory, which is nice. But it really wasn't very harsh at all. It was incredibly smooth. And so I see you guys with those 18s, especially the stock setup with these APR springs, you guys will love them if you are looking for a rather stock kind of feeling ride in terms of your daily driving with a little bit added firmness and performance in the corners. But they felt pretty OEM as far as driving comfort goes. Then we installed the 19-inch with that lower profile sidewall, a 235 instead of a 40 series. And yes, it is definitely more firm. When I got the wheels and tires installed, they had the PSI up to, I think it was like 42 or something. And it was pretty stiff. I was like, ooh, I don't know. Did I make a mistake by getting 19s instead of 18s? I ended up lowering the PSI down to around 38 right now, and the car is much, much more compliant, guys. It feels so much better with just a little bit less pressure in the tires. I think that was just too much. Now, I think that's where Volkswagen wants them to be, but I don't know, not for me. After a few days of testing, a couple things stood out to me. One, with the tires. The tires I chose were the Michelin Pilot Sport All Season 4s, which overall, I'm super impressed with. The stock power in the car comes nowhere near to like braking traction of these tires right now, which is good because I don't plan to stay at stock power for very long. But I will say overall handling and all that stuff, very, very good so far with these tires. I have been pushing it a little bit around turns and things like that. And for daily driving, they feel pretty darn good. Definitely more firm than the stock Goodyears were, as you would expect, an all season to all season, but a higher performance all season versus, a touring tire. The only downside with the Michelins is that they definitely have more road noise. So if that's something that bothers you, the Michelins might not be the best option for you. I'm thinking if I went with the Pilot Sport 4S's like I was going to, it would probably be even worse because the compound is, even, I guess it's stickier, but they're probably more firm because, it's a summer tire. It's a higher end performance summer tire. I will say though, after a few hundred miles of driving, I think the Michelins have gotten a little bit quieter. So it'll be interesting to see as we break these tires in, after we get some miles on them, how they feel. as we kind of progress through here the next couple months, see how they feel in the winter, and then in the spring, once temperatures get back up to where they are now, how they do with some extra power under the hood as well. But coming up on this little turn here, I'm just going in, and man, the tires and the springs, the combination, it's definitely both of them working together. But the body roll has been significantly reduced over the stock setup, for sure. Yes, it's stiffer, but in my mind, it's not a bad stiff. It just feels kind of sporty stiff. It's not too much. Now, like I said, when we were outside of the car, I do wish it was a little bit lower. I wish those APR springs dropped it just a little bit lower, but it was super hard to tell with all the pictures and stuff on the internet how it was gonna look until we actually just did it. But I guess the pluses of it not being too low is, one, I'm not scraping on anything as I'm driving through areas that aren't perfect road conditions. I have a rolled curved driveway, which I really have to take at an aggressive angle, especially with the Mustang, if you guys are watching from that build series as well. That one I really had to be on an angle to take that and go up that driveway without scraping. This is close in the front for sure, but it is something that still clears the driveway without scraping. I haven't ran into any issues being at this ride height, so I do kind of like that, although I do wish it was just a little bit lower. That's just my thoughts, guys. So far, I'm loving the setup. I love the way the car looks now, even if it isn't as low as I wanted it to go. I think it looks great. Put your opinions, put your comments down in the comment field down below. I can't wait to the next one here, guys, and I was excited just to share this with you, and it's been tough to keep this kind of under wraps for like a week and a half to edit the video and all this stuff. So I got a lot of pictures I'll be posting on Instagram of this setup. If you have any questions on fitment or install or anything like that, put it in the comments down below. And what's next for the car? Well, I think we got to add some more power to this thing. We got 2,615 miles on the car right now, so I'm trying to wait as long as I can to tune it, but it's hard. I'm getting the urge for more power here, guys, so we will have to tune this thing, and I'm just deciding which tuner to go with at the moment. So you guys put your comments down below for that as well. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Anyways, with all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is where the car sits right now. And of course, we will see you in the next one. Bye.